What is up, guys? Welcome to the first episode, the first official episode of the Infinity Flux Letters page. My name is Matt.
I'm Andy.
And yeah, we're going to try this again for, last week was a little bit of a disaster. And I'm trying to get it pulled up on my tablet here, too, just to keep an eye on it. There we go.
Talk about disaster.
Jeez Louise. All right. So worked a little bit on ironing out some of the bugs from last week, so apologies for that. But I think we've got some new hotness, that is going to make this a little bit better. So the purpose of this show, it is a live show, obviously interactive with you guys watching here on YouTube and on TikTok up there. We can interact with your chat. We do want to, Thomas O'Brien, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. So the purpose of this is to interact with you guys. We can talk with you live while we're doing this to answer any questions you guys might have about anything. And then, to bring you news about comics and pop culture and stuff like that. Each one of these is going to be probably, 30 to 45 minutes long. And we do have a couple of really good comments / questions that a couple people left on our last video. So we really appreciate you doing that. Do you just want to jump right into it, or?
Yeah, I don't see why. But as you're going along, we will branch out when we see some comments come in, and we can answer your questions if they are, pertain to, something that we can answer.
For sure. And want to let you know, too, DC Patrol, thank you, says the love the cartoon image on the thumbnail. Andy put that together just like lickety-split, and it looks so hilarious. So thank you so much for that. What's up, Mr. Fisticuffs? What's going on? And, trying to get to – this is weird because we have another monitor here now, so it's like I'm trying to manage
Pay attention. The people are over here.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, no, I'm talking to these guys, but you guys over here, but you're the same guys, right? Whoa. It's kind of weird. So, wanted to show real quick. Oh, wrong one again. I did that just the other. Okay. So, yes, a user named Gorgrim left a fantastic comment on our last video. And I don't want to read the whole thing. It was very, very complimentary. I don't want to read the whole thing because it sounds a little bit like we're tooting our own horn a little bit. But they did have a really cool couple of questions about. They said, I would love to hear what you guys consider the best comic runs at the moment and why. And also would love to challenge you guys to tell us what are some of the comics you dislike now. We definitely would love to talk about some of the comics that we think are currently the best ones. We really try to stay positive here. There are, you guys know we read a lot of comics, and there are plenty that don't really resonate with us. Yeah. But there are more that we like than there are that we don't like. So we'd rather just focus on the ones that we do enjoy. So, I think we'll just...
if people say you like everything, we don't like everything. We just, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So we avoid talking about things we don't like. But rest assured, there are things we do not like. Yeah.
Card Imperial, thank you very much. Enjoy your channel. We appreciate that. Jim, how are you doing? So just to talk about some of the things that some of the ones that we think are best. I love World's Finest.
Yep.
Batman, Superman, World's Finest by Mark Waid and Dan
if y'all
Mora.
Didn't know, I know. Loves World's Finest.
I know. We try to talk about it every chance we can, just to promote it. I think it's fantastic. It's it feels like a really fun Bronze Age DC comic with but modern sensibilities, modern storytelling, modern artwork, and that kind of thing. And then a close second behind that is, if we're going publisher by publisher, I really like Green Lantern. Right after that. But, for me over at Marvel, it's obviously Ultimate Spider-Man. And then right behind that is maybe Fantastic Four, because I just love how that feels like such an anthology book, almost an anthology. Maybe there's like a 2 or 3 part here and there, but almost every issue is like a one and done. It's just fun. There's a really big focus on family, that kind of thing. So I love reading those every month. And then, obviously over Image, everything Energon Universe, everything.
You're just stealing all of mine. As I was thinking, I was like, well, you haven't named Transformers. Oh, no, you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be mine. I also, and we don't talk about it on the shows too often.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I don't talk about it on the show when it comes out. I love Hellboy. So anytime a Hellboy thing comes out, I love reading that. When we get our books for our Monday show, of course I read what's the big book of the week, Absolute Power or his Blood Hunt or his whatever, then the next ones are Ultimate Spider-Man, Transformers, anything Energon universe, because I feel like there's still every issue has some big like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that moment. But there's so many good things coming out.
Well, on TikTok, real quick, Dean says Dan Moore just left the book talking about World's Finest, and you're right. But then that makes me think probably my new favorite one will be Justice League Unlimited, because he's going with Mark Waid over there, so that's probably going to be the new.
And also, I would say next to World's Finest at DC, Superman. I would say Superman is probably my favorite book. Probably consistently the best book across, just like since issue 1. There's not been an issue I haven't enjoyed of it. I really enjoyed Iron Man. It's just wrapped up, but Iron Man at Marvel was this current, most recent run was really, really good.
Every issue there was out of 20, there was one single issue that I didn't really care for. The other 19 I thought were absolutely fantastic. Are you completely caught up on that now?
No, I've got like 2-3 issues left.
Okay. Yeah, everyone was a home run. Lots of action. I thought the way that he mixed Jerry Duggan almost seamlessly integrated Iron Man with the X-Men, but
it didn't feel
still
forced.
Kind of felt separate.
It didn't feel like, oh, they're really trying to tie this in with what's going on in the X-Men. It's like, no, the way the story worked out, it felt like the natural progression of the story, and it stayed around for a while, which was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And James, you got a question? Is it Absolute Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman? They'll start soon. I can't remember. Those are the first 3. We were talking about this the other day. We don't quite know the release schedule for those yet. I'd be willing to say it's maybe one a month.
I think it's one a month because they announced them all at once. Like the previous book has them all, but I think Ultimate Batman's first, then Ultimate Wonder Woman, then Ultimate Superman, I think is the order. And I'm guessing we're going to get one a month. I can't imagine they would crowd a month too much with putting that many big books. And first, we're actually getting the DC All In, which is going to probably have those characters in it. If I was to guess where they appear, maybe even in Absolute Power, the last issue, we might see.
Or that All In, that special.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. So we'll have to see. But if you're following the Absolute stuff, I feel like you're going to be able to get all of them.
Yeah, and something interesting about that, Scott Snyder just said the other day that they've announced 5 so far: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash. But he said there are 8 in total. So there's 3 more Absolute books coming at some point that we don't even know about yet. Are you hoping for Aquaman?
I would love. Okay, here's the thing. So back when they were doing Earth 1, way back in the day when they were doing the Earth 1 books, the Earth 1 Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, all of that, they announced Aquaman Earth 1 by Francis Manapul. That never happened.
I was going to say, I don't remember that one.
No, that never happened. And then, I want to say around the time of like Rebirth or something like that, they're like, oh yeah, Francis Manapul is going to be doing the new ongoing Aquaman. That never happened. I wonder if they've, they said they've been working on this for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Francis Manapul on Aquaman. Also, because we know he's working on the thing for Jeff Johns and all of that.
Oh, the Rockefellers.
The Rockefellers.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a Francis Manapul Absolute Aquaman. Also, considering there's not an Aquaman series right now.
Yeah, I would absolutely welcome that. And that's one thing I forgot to mention too with favorites is after the Energon universe is the Ghost Machine stuff.
Yep.
With Rook being my favorite of those, Geiger, Redcoat, and then I really liked the Rockefellers in that preview book that we got.
And we're getting the new ones that aren't part of the unnamed universe, but we still have Jeff Johns' Hyde Street coming out with Ivan Rice, which that's like my favorite team in comics pretty much is Jeff Johns and Ivan Rice working on something since their Green Lantern days.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. They're great together.
I'm very excited about that, and I can't wait to see what else we have coming from those.
Yeah, for sure. And Thomas, you say you love Iron Man and Daredevil. Yes, I'm enjoying this current run of Daredevil. Not as much as the Zdarsky run,
that's
but
a lot to
that
live
was
up to.
that bar was through the roof, right? So I mean, that was already living up to high expectations. But yeah, as we talk through this, because we got a couple other things here, but let us know, like, what are some of y'all's favorite books? Like, what do you like? like a great question is like, what is when you come home with your stack? What's the first book you go to, right? Like, what's the very first one? I always go to, World's Finest, or right now it's been Absolute Power. When we previewed our books on Friday night, I sat home and like Absolute Power was in the middle, pulled it out number 2, and like started it right then.
I feel like that's how Ultimate Spider-Man, Absolute Power, like especially the kind of big movers and shakers of the worlds. I read those first.
Yeah, those are great. So we had that user had another question about what would you guys consider some of the best comic tropes and some of the worst? Well, I thought of one, and I've been meaning to make a TikTok video about this. I love it when there are weapons that just completely defy the laws of physics.
That's a good one.
Captain America's shield bouncing off of a wall and coming back to him. Or even better, when Daredevil throws a billy club at one guy, it bounces and hits another guy, it bounces to the other guy, and then comes back to him.
Yeah.
That would never, ever, ever even come close to working in the real world. But I don't care because it just looks cool, right? I don't care if it would actually work or not. It just looks neat.
Yeah.
I
would say trope, it kind of along the same line. I do love every 90s trope, though you've got white hair and a 19-foot long ponytail. But it only works in that world.
Yeah.
But also, I love the kind of doppelganger thing. It's Superman Bizarro. It's Bat Zorro. It's the Injustice League. I love the mirror image of a hero because I love like Owlman and the Justice or the Earth 3 versions, or whatever you want to call it now. Crime Syndicate.
Crime Syndicate,
yeah. Ultraman. I love that kind of thing. Every hero has their even Venom is that for Spider-Man. He's kind of the ravenous side of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun, and it's kind of like everyone gets it as you come through the door.
Pouches and straps.
Pouches and straps.
That's a great 90s. One. Even now it's like, you see Captain America and he's got pouches on his belt. If we were talking about like what we would do if we made a comic, I would have a scene where the hero reaches in to his pouch and pulls out something. I don't know what, but I want to see what's in there. Is it a granola bar?
No, I want them to reach down to her pouch and be like, oh, wasn't that pouch? Like, oh, it's the one to the left. Like, they don't know exactly where they put something.
Right. Like, Batman, he's like, oh gosh, I've got to get the gas pellets. Oh no, I pulled out my radio. That's not right. And like, oh no, those are the poison pellets or whatever.
He thinks he's throwing some smoke bombs, but he just threw some like peppermints.
Yeah.
I also love just kind of like with your weapon, it's the impracticality of costumes. Like every costume spray painted on, but just right.
Yeah.
Or like a domino mask, how it'll turn the person's eyes white.
I love that so much.
Like you don't know how it sticks on their face.
Yeah.
Or how or like Spider-Man's eyes, where they can change sizes. They kind of did that in the movie, but like in traditional, his eyes can change and there's no lenses to it. It's just, especially like Ramos, like early Ramos Spider-Man would have like crazy eyes changes.
That's what's great about comics though, is like, you don't have to explain any of that stuff. Because you do it for the visual thrill, right? Yeah. You do it because it looks cool. Not because it makes any kind of practical sense or whatever. Like it's a visual medium, and you just want to have something that looks cool, right? Yeah, pouches and straps is a good one. But hey, Mark, hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. New comic day. Just got off work, heading to pick up comics. Number ones picking up today are Uncanny X-Men and Red Before Black. We both read Uncanny X-Men and thought it was really, really good. I liked Red Before Black.
Yeah, it definitely surprised me with your traditional kind of crime noir story, but with like a moment that was like, that's really weird. I hope they delve into this one aspect that not supernatural, but paranatural. It's something like a little to the side that's a little weird that I really liked.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And yeah, Uncanny X-Men, they're 5 for 5 from the ashes so far. The only thing about the From the Ashes is like all the X-Men were so connected on Krakoa, and now they're all so spread out. Yeah. And each team doesn't really feel connected to the other team. Even when even in the 90s when you had your X-Men, your X-Force, your X-Factor, and they were doing their own things, they still kind of felt a little bit connected.
Yeah.
They still sort of felt like they were in communication with each other. And now it's just like, they don't. I mean, we saw that Rogue got a call from Cyclops in the first issue.
Well, and we saw in X-Men Wolverine leave X-Men, and assuming he either goes to his own book or what he's doing in this one.
Yeah.
So there is some connectivity that I'm glad they're not super laying on top of each other. Like, I feel like the Krakoa era eventually got to where you see all the books and you're like, I don't really know who's on this team. It feels a little like, a Venn diagram of characters.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll eventually sort of merge back. Nikita, I love your shows. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And guys, I just noticed we did have a little bit of stuttering just now. And
what?
It wasn't too awful bad, but the other Infinity Flux, don't tell anybody, but I switched tabs and marked it public while we were doing this. So, but there was still a little bit of stuttering. So one thing about this is we did iron out a lot of technical difficulties we had last week, but we were running on a laptop that's on Wi-Fi, and we are in the back corner of the store. Everything else and the routers and everything are way over there. We're behind like a 6-foot thick oak door. There's going to be, we might still get a little bit of a hiccup every now and then, but we don't have the little thing there now. So sorry for that quick little stutter. So those questions were awesome. What was I thinking about the costumes? One more trope about the costumes is I love how heroes wear their costumes all the time.
Yeah.
So, they're in Avengers Mansion or whatever, and they're eating breakfast in full costume, full mask. I just think that's the idea of it is super goofy, but it works in comics because it's like, oh, there's Captain America eating breakfast. Oh, that's Wolverine. He's eating a sandwich,
Well, and the fact that their costumes can get pretty much destroyed and they always have backups.
Yep.
And you're like, I get that Spider-Man made his first costume, but those heroes do not have time to make multiple copies.
Right.
It's every day Wolverine's suit is getting holes in it, and then the next day he's got a fresh suit.
Yeah.
So unstable molecules, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, actually, I love the idea of unstable molecules because you can just write off so much with that.
It's just the most blanket thing.
Yeah.
How can the Fantastic Four suits survive? Their powers, unstable
molecules. And every time. Like when Miles goes camouflage and his suit turns invisible, even though we've never seen him get unstable molecule suit from Reed Richards, I just assume, he probably just got it from Reed Richards at some point.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know. That's enough
to have a machine that makes everybody's suits.
Yeah.
And it just replicates.
Yeah, that works for me. James wants to know if we got the new Superman shirt yet. No.
Oh, have you seen that?
Yeah.
The James Gunn.
The blue with the new symbol.
Yeah, they sell it. Is it Hot Topic that has it?
Oh, is it?
I think it's Hot Topic.
Ooh,
I might have to go get one. I used to have an old Superman shirt, but I wore it out to where the seams and the sleeve were separated.
Yeah.
So it's about time I get a new Superman.
I want that
shirt.
on a hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so there was another thing that darn it, I always pick the wrong one. Sorry, guys. There we go. There's another question from Johnny B that says, I'd like to see you all do a segment on a recommendation of a trade or another collected edition you guys have read over the month. I know Matt's a big omnibus guy, and collected editions doesn't have to be a new one, just a great story you enjoyed reading. So yeah, that's a fantastic idea, and we really do want to try to do that. Maybe since this show is going to be bi-weekly, maybe every other show. So that would be once every 4 weeks. We can talk about a collected edition book that we've been reading or whatever. And I thought that I would mention how I've been diving headfirst into the symbiote stuff with Marvel, reading because I've read almost none of that stuff, right? So I read the Donny Cates Venom omnibus, or I'm reading it for the first time ever. But when it ran into the Absolute Carnage event, I stopped that omnibus and opened the Absolute Carnage omnibus and read that all the way through, finished it, resumed the Venom omnibus until it ran into King in Black, which I, for some reason, never read. And then now I'm reading the King in Black Venom omnibus. And when that's done, I will go back to the Venom by Donny Cates omnibus and finish out the last few issues there, and then maybe start this current run. And which is weird because I've been a little bit not super thrilled about some of the symbiote stuff in Marvel right now, just because it seems really, really complex. There's so many symbiotes, so many people, so many characters have one. But I didn't really have the context for why this all is the way it is.
Yeah.
But now that I'm reading that, I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to pick it up a little bit more. And so it's actually helping me enjoy the newer stuff a little bit better. So yeah, I've just been like, full bore symbiote stuff for the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And so far so good. And before you get to yours, Andy, Jeff wants to know, were you busy with commissions at Farley Con? How did that go? That was that's what we should have started off with this past weekend with Farley Con.
Yeah, we took the show on the road to a convention, sitting just like this.
Yeah. Actually, we did sit just like this right here at the table. Yeah.
I didn't do big commissions. I did remarks. Someone brought me 20 copies of my Star Wars High Republic Adventures book.
Yeah.
And I signed, just signatured 10 of them, and then I did remarks on 10 of them.
And it was really cool because on some of those, you did characters you had never done before.
Yeah, I can't bore myself. Like, I love drawing nubs, but I've drawn on Free Comic Book Day, I did over like 250 of those.
Yeah.
So this time I was like, I'm going to draw different characters. Still ones related to the book, but I'm going to shake it up. So I did a lot of those. I did one that was really cool and very nerve-wracking. I did a sketch of someone got a commission from Howard Chaykin of Darth Vader. So Howard Chaykin, the original artist, the original Star Wars comic book artist from Star Wars #1. He did a Darth Vader on it, and they wanted me to draw a rocket raccoon popping out of the side. So I was very careful not to mess up the pretty fresh drawn Howard Chaykin Darth Vader. I laid a piece of paper on top of that part and then drew Rocket Raccoon over to the side.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
It was a fun weekend for sure. Sunday was better than Saturday, but I remember thinking Sunday was a variety of things. So you had an aspiring artist come by and you got to critique his artwork.
Yeah, a guy brought some artwork by in a folder that I went through and gave him some notes on.
Yeah.
You met someone. It sounds like you met someone. And
I'm not single anymore.
Someone who recognized you from TikTok.
Yes, somebody who watches on TikTok came up and said hi, so that was really cool to meet everybody IRL, as the kids say.
Yep, I think the kids say that.
Yeah, it was a fun week. Mark, you'll like this question too. Do you think that they're going to do Universal Monsters, Wolfman, and Mummy?
I think so.
I
think there's really like no question about they're going to continue this.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if Wolfman was the next one. Although they do, at least the pattern they're going is big one, Dracula, and then they did Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is big, but maybe not in the top 3.
Right.
And then they're doing Frankenstein. Maybe they would do Mummy next, because that's not in the top 3. And then Wolfman, who is in the top 3, they would do that one next. I don't know if they're spraying it out, not cramming, the big monsters right in the beginning, but they could also just do Dracula again.
Yeah.
But just do a different Dracula story. Like
Wolfman would be really cool, though.
I would love Wolfman.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I think they'll for sure do it. So, Andy, what are your...
Well, what I'm reading...
Yeah.
What's hard is, so we read so many books for our Monday show.
We read a lot of books every weekend.
And that's over the weekend. Prime, reading for enjoyment time.
Right.
Which we do enjoy reading these, but there does feel a little bit of homework to it.
Yeah.
You got to read it and retain it and everything. So I don't get to blow through trades like I used to.
Right,
I used to read a couple a week.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit slower. I've been making my way through, I think, the 4th or 5th deluxe edition of Hack Slash, because they do Kickstarters for those.
Yeah.
And I always back the Kickstarters and get those. So I was reading that. I'm still making my way through the Batman by Grant Morrison omnibus.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of took a break from that for a little while, but I got through the beginning through the Black Glove, and I'm getting into the kind of where they introduced the Batman International team, the Man of Bats, and all of that, Knight and Squire. I'm getting through that. I want to finish that, and then I'm really excited. It's really hard when you get something and you're like, oh man, I want to just jump to this, but I'm waiting to finish the other things before I jump into the Blackest Night omnibus that I ordered, because I've read Blackest Night, but it was like the first thing when I was getting to comics on a regular basis was when Blackest Night was coming out. I got every Blackest Night related thing, and then I just recently got the omnibus that collects it all, and I really want to go back and revisit that entire thing because I have very fun, nostalgic feelings for that whole story.
Yeah, I want to do that too because I read it all, but it was 2008, so like 16 years ago, and I haven't touched it since, and I want to go back. I know it holds up. It's not a question of does it hold up or not. I just want to experience it again, you know?
I feel like I know more now than I knew then.
Yeah.
I knew more characters. Yep. So then to go back and be like, oh, now I understand why these characters are dead, these characters are alive. What? Because, you know, because Batman comes back to life, but that's not the real Batman. Yeah. That's his body because there was a fake one because of Darkseid and Final Crisis. There's a lot of stuff now that, like, back then I was like, I do not understand this at all. But this I completely understand.
Yeah, like... Because back when I read it, I wasn't like fully into DC yet, and so there was a thing like with Sue Dibney came back, and Elongated Man had to sort of deal with her, and I remember that was kind of everybody was like, oh my gosh, and I didn't really quite understand. I knew sort of kind of, but it didn't really hit me. But I have since read Identity Crisis,
and you realize, that's really,
that's why
it's kind of messed up and way over the top. But yeah, this omnibus has the 3-issue Superman, 3-issue Wonder Woman, 3-issue Batman, 3-issue Flash, Tales from Blackest Night. So that I'm really looking forward to getting to, but I want to get through. But you've messed me up because now I buy omnibuses, and it's a slippery slope.
Welcome to the dawn.
Yeah.
One of us. Yeah, and we wanted to sort of segue that into, James Power Fantasy. It's really good. Like I said on Monday, I did find it a little bit confusing at first, but by the time you get to that last page, everything makes sense. So if you get confused at the beginning, just hang in there, and it'll all make sense at the end.
There is an interesting thing about Power Fantasy this week that came out, and check with your store. There are 2 A covers. Yeah. They have the exact same numbers on code, everything.
Same barcode,
Same barcode, but the cover is slightly different. We could not find any difference between them. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. And the cover's not drastically different enough to make it like, oh, this is a hidden variant. So check out which one you've got. I think one has a white box around the title. The other one has more of a bleed from it.
Right.
And hopefully we've learned maybe what that's all about.
We flipped through each one side by side. There was no difference. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed their mind, I don't know why. But we were gonna talk about, we were gonna segue that into. We got to talk to Rick Leonardi at Farley Con. He was at the table right next to ours or yours. I say ours. I didn't do anything. I was the hype man. But he was at the table right next to Andy's, and we talked to him a little bit about, he had mentioned that, that DC maybe was kind of falling a little bit behind when it comes to collected editions because Marvel just cranks them out. But and we're running out of time, so we can't really run through it like I wanted to. But, maybe we can talk about it next time. DC announced a whole bunch of omnibuses for next year and a whole bunch of their new DC Finest books, which is basically DC's version of Marvel Epic Collections. Yeah. Of course, they also have the compact comics as well, which are smaller, but the DC Finest are full-size, regular-size trade paperbacks, but they're a little thicker. They're just like the Epic Collections. And DC announced a whole bunch of those. So DC is, and they've been doing great with their compendiums, the Tim Drake compendium, the Nightwing compendium, the Lobo compendium. There's an Animal Man one coming out. They're starting to crank out the omnibuses a little bit more. So DC's doing a great job, starting to put out some of their classics because they have some really, really good older stuff that I really want to dive into. So, props to them. Maybe we'll talk about that next time for sure.
But props to Rick Leonardi for being a great person and really fun to talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing artist, watching him crank out commissions of Spider-Man 2099, Captain America, all of those. Yeah. That was really, really cool to watch. And just from like artist to artist, I had a good discussion with him just about like the business and all of that towards the end. Plus, he showed us a lot of the Batman Robin Lives. It's the one that's from the DC vault.
Robin Lives, or what? There's something. It's a longer title, but the Robin Lives miniseries.
He walked us through the entire second issue, talked about every page, and did his own.
I'm not even sure when that comes out, but we got to. It looks cool. We got to see it. I mean, it looks awesome. So yeah, good to talk to him for sure. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We don't want these to run too long. Plus, the store is about to close in about 8 minutes.
Whoops.
So we're going to get locked in here overnight. Which wouldn't be so bad. We just read comics all night long. But just want to thank you guys very, very much for hanging out with us on our what we'll call this the official first episode. Last week was like a test pilot.
Yeah.
This week was a lot more smooth. So please, if you have any questions that you would love for us to talk about, or any topics that you would love for us to talk about, leave them in the comment to this video. You can send them to us on social media, some way or shape or form. We'll find it for sure. We'll compile those. We will talk about them next week. So now that we have a little bit more of a official show here, this is going to be bi-weekly. So our next show won't be for another 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? Let's say the 7th for 21st. Will be our next show, August 21st, right around this same time. Just let us know if you have any questions. We will be on the lookout for news that we can talk about. We can let you guys know of new things happening in comics in case you haven't heard about it or whatever. We can all have a group chat about it together.
It can be, it can be like questions about like story in comics. Well, what happened with this or whatever? Or it could be like, what's it like ordering comics for a comic book store?
Yeah.
Like we're happy to talk about a whole swath
anything. Yeah, it could be anything.
Comic related stuff.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely. So we're gonna end it here. But thank you very much, guys, for hanging out with us. And we will I was gonna say we'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll see you on Friday for our Comics from the Future video.
We'll be around.
Yeah, we'll be around, Monday. But for this show, we will see you guys in another 2 weeks. Send us those questions and we'll get right on them. So thanks a lot, guys. Jeff, you have a good night. Everybody else. And we will see you guys later. Oh, see, I got to hit the button twice. So, I always keep waving. Bye.